It's your boy ZayP that I am. I am that I am, as you are that you are, for we are all that we are. From the individual to the many, for the many is the all, and the all is the one. So this video straight away is just something that Spirit has been talking to me about all day, and it's something that I've been working on personally and that I'm building some community around. Is the idea of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Now, just to break it down, the idea of the divine feminine and the idea of the divine masculine, these are like, if you think of them as energetic archetypes, these are energies that we can tap into that are embodied in our physical vessels through the idea of gender. But that is a huge mistake. We as a people have this problem of anthropomorphizing things that are not human. And what I mean by that is that we go around giving traits and assigning traits and acting as though things that are not human are human. So we assume that they will behave in ways that humans behave. We assume that this is how they think. This is how this thing particularly functions. It's like the idea of God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it God, because in the Western hemisphere of the world, at least, we think of the concept of God, and we think of God as this overseer, this all-knowing being, right? But when we anthropomorphize the idea of God, God becomes more human, right? Now we get the ideas of the vengeful God. We get these ideas of you pray externally to a God externally, as though God is outside of yourself, as though you are not part of God. Even though all of the religious texts that you are taught, that's spoon-fed to you, tell you God is the all, somehow you end up thinking you are outside of that. Somehow you end up thinking you are not God, you are not worthy, right? So this is what happens when we start to anthropomorphize things. Instead of seeing God as, say, energy, as, say, potential energy, as, say, the unified field, as, say, unlimited potentiality, as life force, as love, these intangible concepts, we give God human characteristics. So now we have a God that judges. So now we have a God that will deem who is worthy and who isn't. Then we have a God that all of a sudden starts picking and choosing who's worthy because of things such as what religion. I know some people who are, and this is no offense to some of the Jehovah's Witnesses out there or some of the beliefs that they have, but I know a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses, and they will argue that if you are not Jehovah's Witness, you are not one of God's chosen few. When the day comes, you will be sent to hell. And that seems very, very sad to me. Jehovah's Witness is a very small religion. It isn't. This is not me knocking any particular religion, but Jehovah's Witness is a very small religion when you compare it to some of the bigger religions like Catholicism, Catholics, and Islam, Muslims, and Judaism, Jewish people, and these different religious perspectives. So you look at Jehovah's Witness, and maybe there's a few 100,000, maybe a couple million that are even aware of what it is, and as far as actually devoutly following the religion. And it seems a shame to me that their God, that this God that they speak of would cast judgments on, let's say, 9 billion people on the planet, and say maybe only 5 people maybe really be devoutly into this particular region. So for about 8.5 billion people are going to go to hell. That seems really insane. That seems like, if the God that you speak of is truly that limited, it just seems a shame from my perspective. Now, as I understand God to be, for me, the unified conscious, the field, the energetic, intangible, all-compassing field that it is, that that we are all able to connect and tap into, that we are so blessed to be part of, that feeds and replenishes all of us. That is not limited to just a few million people. That is the entirety of all the people, as well as all the things, as well as all the life, as well as all the inanimate objects, as we might define them to be inanimate because we do not believe they have consciousness. From spirit, from my understanding, all things of energy have an energetic consciousness, and then that energetic consciousness has the ability to broaden, expand, and become aware consciousness, a consciousness that can start to develop ideas of the self. But this is neither here nor there. The point being that all things of that energetic nature have that consciousness. This is why atoms can, although they're always doing the same motion, always spinning, atoms can form different shapes of protons and different shapes of proteins and other types of molecular structures, right? Although the atoms are just spinning, right? There's a divine, innately infinite intelligence in all particles to spin in a rotation, to spin at a speed, at a rate that it is supposed to spin at, in order to create this particular experience, right? Because whether it's a light particle or a light wave, it is an experience. How are you seeing that? Do you see the particle? Do you see when the wave stops and it is just a point? Or do you see when the wave is in motion and when it is almost intangible because it is in motion and out of spectrum? So that said, it's all just an experience. So these things, when you try to make them human, when you try to say this acts in this way from a human perspective, right? Energy acts in this way. I manifest in this way because I, from a logical perspective, wanted this and this worked out, or it didn't work out, right? But in an energetic way, that's not the truth of what the experience was. You might have in your head said, I want this, I want to create this, and you might not understand why it didn't work out, but that's because the energy that you was putting out was working against yourself. I want to create the successful life, but the energy you put out is you're unorganized. You don't desire the effort. You're not putting forward the passion and the energy it takes to create. You're not actually creating ideas and putting them out and expressing them so that they can gain some density and come and be manifest in the real. And so then when it doesn't manifest, we're like, well, I've been saying I want this to happen in my life. What is going on? Instead, I've been getting the exact opposite because your energy has been creating the exact opposite. But it is not because there's some guy saying no and yes. It is because you, the direct connection, the direct conduit, the direct vessel to the God, to the source, the infinite field, have been communicating in energetic ways you don't yet understand. You've been creating in ways you don't understand, thinking that there's something outside of you that is just supposed to naturally give it to you. So this is what happens when we start to anthropomorphize and humanize things that are not human, that are not part of the human experience. God could and should and does work in all of our favors. The only problem is when we are gods and we don't understand our power, then the things that are created, the things that come out in our favor, the things that are in direct response to what we're putting out energetically, well, those things manifest in ways we don't think we want. That's because although we were thinking, we never learned how to tap in and how to be what we want. We never learned how to be abundant, how to be wealthy. We always thought, I want abundance, I want wealth. You think you want this thing. You want money. You want that experience. The only energy you're putting out is the wanting energy, right? But when you are abundant, when you can see, damn, I'm funny. Damn, I'm charming. Damn, I make people feel good. Damn, I know how to have a good time. Damn, I know how to just relax and be. I'm abundant in me, you know, and there's a value here. And this value that I am, simply by being me, can provide and can take care of me. Now you start to experience more abundance growth in your life in many different ways, because your eyes are no longer limited to just the physical realm. Your eyes are now opened. Your eye is now open to understanding that abundance comes in so many more ways than just this wanting of physical money or a physical expression of that energy. So likewise, when you think about the idea of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, we have this mistaken point of view that automatically the divine feminine are just women and the divine masculine are just men. This is a fallacy. I see a lot of writings, a lot of information out there that is completely destructive to the communities, because you'll see all sorts of toxic, as they would say, masculinity or toxic femininity within these teachings, coming from a male ego or coming from a female ego in the guise of, I am representing the divine feminine. I am representing the divine masculine. The truth of the matter is, the divine feminine is an energy. If you think about a divine feminine energy, you think about the feminine energy of receiving insight, of receiving love, of compassion, intuition, these more fluid-like states, right? Whereas you can think of the feminine as water, whereas the masculine is a more fiery energy. It is more the giving energy. It is more the forcibly taking of action, right? So when you have that and you think that's what the man is supposed to be and this is what the woman is supposed to be, you split yourselves. Because the fact of the matter is, the divine feminine is not this is just a woman's thing. This is an energy. Everybody has potential to access the feminine energy. Everybody has potential to tap into their compassion, or to tap into inspiration, to tap into these more receiving energies, or these more going with the flow like energies and impulses. Whereas everybody also, in the same note, has the potential to tap into the masculine energies, where it might be the energy to take action by force, to go out and create. And see, this is how birth takes place. It requires both the feminine and the masculine energy coming together, right? Which is why in the physical, we can see the male and the female coming together. It gives birth to a physical being, a physical vessel. But with the energy, feminine and masculine, both need to be contained within each individual vessel, within each specific person, because without both, you are half of yourself. You are half of being, right? All men have the potential to be loving and compassionate and empathic and receiving and within the flow and at ease and at peace. All women have that potential to be go-getters and to be creators and to be fighters and to be forceful and to knock down walls and to do all of these things. It is not about if you're a male and female. And the fact that over generations we've been taught that these are male traits, these are female traits. No, these are energies that everybody is supposed to be tapping into. Stop cutting yourself in half and thinking, why am I so out of whack? Why are they saying I have toxic masculinity? You don't have toxic masculinity, you have limited femininity. Like, you have been cut off from yourself, right? And if you had your other half, if you were more imbalanced with your other half, then your masculinity would not be toxic. vice versa. If you were more in touch with your masculine sides, then there would not be that idea of a toxic femininity.